We are in progress. It's recording to the cloud, everyone. Which cloud? Is it that cloud I'm looking at my window? I have no idea, but some cloud out there.
We have plenty of them.
This is true. Right. I'm seeing some familiar names showing up here. This is wonderful.
Greeting from Ireland, by the way.
Ah, wonderful. Greetings. Yes, we will have an interactive slide here in a few moments where we'll give you an opportunity to sort of pin your location or as close to it as possible. We'll see how that goes. It'll be a fun little experiment. Let's see. And Ashlyn, have we shared out the Mentimeter link for everyone? Probably not.
I will share it in the chat now.
Thanks for your help with that.
No problem.
Minty.
I pressed enter too soon. And
Very
I'll
good.
give the code if anybody needs the code separately here as well.
Perfect.
Okay. That's the code if we need one. Okay. All right.
Very good.
I'm just letting in about 30 odd people joining, then we'll go ahead and get started because we're a minute past, if that's okay.
Thumbs up here.
All right. Okay, so welcome along everybody to the very first Agile Mastery Meetup, the first official one. We did have a test run on Friday to make sure we got out all of the technicalities. So on our session today, we have the wonderful Jeff Davies, and he is going to be talking about the beautiful mess of building self-organizing teams. So I'm going to just hand directly over to Jeff. There is a Menti in the chat. I'll add it again in case people don't have it. But if you can join that and participate, that would be great. Okay, Jeff, straight over to yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jeff Watts and the other Agile Mastery guides who are part of this adventure here that we've started with this meetup group that appears to have a global reach. So I'm really excited to see in just a few moments here where everyone's at. A few people have already let us know where they're located. But yes, as said, we're going to explore what it means to kind of use these words in somewhat of a tension of a beautiful mess. Is there such a thing? I thought messes were only ugly. Let's explore this together and apply it to what we're doing in our work with teams and trying to encourage or help them and function inside of them. So that's our topic for today. And that'll be the question along the way. Is something messy in such a way that's what's the impact of that mess upon me, upon the team, upon others? Can it be something that we can, flip the script on, so to speak, and turn it into a thing of beauty or moving towards beauty? So helping teams is more art than science. I think hopefully you would agree with me on that. So I'm using this painting picture here just to kind of say I'm using a lot of broad brush strokes, a lot of different colors, metaphors, models, and examples. But the title for me actually was inspired by John Cutler, a well-established person out in product leadership and doing things. I think he's still based out of California, if I recall, but he has an excellent blog. If you haven't yet discovered it, then I would commend it to you. He articulates a lot of great things that you can then bring in to change your own perspective and help your teams and whatever you're doing in your workplace, in your context. So I wanted to give a shout out to John and his inspiration here. All right, here we are to what I said. Before I talk a little bit more about me and get into our topic, where are you? You're inside of Minty here. Hopefully you'll find a way to click on a maybe gold. Yes, there, a gold kind of pin, move it around, place it in an area where you are. My sadness in setting this up was that the UK region being so tiny on the map, knowing there would be a lot of people there. So yes, just pile on.
I don't
Pile on.
understand this. And what are you using?
All right. Okay. Yeah, we'll let this go for just a few more minutes. This is so exciting. We had, thank you all for joining and being members in the meetup, and for clearing your schedules, making time to be here with us today. And this is just really exciting. As we continue to do these on a regular basis, speakers will be in various regions. You know, I'm over in the States, perhaps that's obvious, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. So if anybody's been to Nashville, had a good time here, great. I'm glad to hear that. And if you're planning on coming, just know that I'm here, and let me know, reach out to me. I'd love to meet you in person. We got some people in Florida and maybe over towards Texas or somewhere like that. We got people, wow, look at that, down at the tip of South Africa. Fantastic. This is cool. Very cool. Yay. All right. Very exciting. So yes, we'll continue to see a variety in future meetups, I'm sure. And that's going to be exciting. So, all right. Well, that got, 45 of you are connected here. Great number. And we got a sense of where you're at. So thanks for doing that activity. We'll be back with a few more activities here. So stay tuned, stay plugged in with me, stay engaged. Okay, Jeff Davis, that's me. My name, Jeff, like others, is pretty common when we see a lot of Jeffs in the Agile world. I've noticed, Jeff Sutherland, Jeff Patton. I mean, it goes on and on. So I did kind of come up with a little AKA, and I'm becoming known as the Agile Quokka. And so I didn't see anybody joining from Australia yet, but if you're familiar with the western side of Australia, there's a little island out there where there's these cute little they're like tiny kangaroos, almost little marsupials called quokkas, and they seem to always be smiling. And so they've been labeled as the happiest animal on the planet. A lot of people just tell me I bring joy and encouragement, and that's somehow meaningful to them, and that's meaningful to me. So I thought, great, that's my Agile spirit animal, if you will. So now people know me as the Agile Quokka also. I'm happy to answer to that. Quoxy, Jeff, whatever you want to call me is fine. But I'm a multi-dimensional guide. Ooh, we're going to travel through dimensions here together. So what does that mean? That's just my spin on saying I love to help others overcome their limitations, break through barriers, and excite themselves and their teams into reinventing themselves, if you will, getting better and better, moving towards mastery. So I do have a website, 3D Change. You can learn more about me there if you'd like, and how I'm connected with the Agile Mastery Institute as a licensed guide for our Pathways offerings. So what are we here today to do? Today, I want to engage you as best as I can to help you with different images, different ideas. I hope they'll resonate with you and encourage you that the variety, like I said, with the painting kind of metaphor there, will eventually seem like an organized thing of beauty to give you thoughts around and to move you towards areas of reorganizing, if you will. And hopefully it won't seem like a cluttered mess. So as we do this, let me click over here. All right, we will discover the mess together. We will detangle the mess, or talk about ways of detangling. We'll try to design some order into the mess of the work that we do. All right, so everybody with me? Why don't we take a moment? Maybe you're transitioning, coming in or something, but let's just take a moment to breathe. I'm going to try this fun little feature in Minty. And as I press the enter button, relax. As this circle expands, take a deep breath with me. Slowly let it out. Let's do 2 more of those. And let that out. That's good. That's helping me. 1 more. And nice. Okay. That's helping me focus. Is it helping you? Fantastic. All right. So why self-organizing? Why as a topic? You'll notice here, I sometimes throw the Z in or the S. I'm trying to do my best to sort of show show appreciation for the different spellings. All right, we've got a diamond coming out of coal here. Value. I want to say that, you know, probably the biggest why for us that we talk about, or ought to be talking about, maybe if you're not already, is value. Quickly, a reminder: when we're talking about value, are we doing more than just saying that word? So let's make it clear to people that we're either talking about increasing revenue, protecting that revenue. Maybe we're talking about decreasing costs or avoiding costs like penalties and these kinds of things. So those would kind of be the four major categories that I use as a mental model. But really what I'm trying to offer to you here is you're going to see me reuse this somewhat circular collection of circles. And we're going to focus on value creation, really is kind of at the epicenter, the heart of this. But this is going to line up more with kind of a framework or a model that I'll reveal more about in a moment. But two parts of this framework for leaders and for us as guides and helping teams. I would say it's not necessarily in an order where you start and you end and you're done. It's sort of this circular, maybe even sort of crisscrossing way of working, where we're always trying to think about the value and optimizing the flow of value. So self-organizing is a big, big way that we make that value happen and get better and better and better with the flow of the value. All right, so let me help you, I hope, by borrowing from a really great video that I discovered recently that tells us more about self-organizing and the self-managing aspect of this. So we're going to watch a video together. You ready? Ready to watch a video? All right. Hopefully all the sound is set up properly, but do ping in the chat if it's not coming through. We'll take care of any corrections here. All right. I'm going to start this video for you. Here we go.
There are a lot of misunderstandings around self-managing teams. It's actually very simple. In a basic low-speed four-way intersection, the goal is to get as many vehicles through the intersection as possible. First, you might try placing something in the system like a police officer or a stoplight. With this configuration, you'll get an average of 289 cars through the intersection in 15 minutes. Next, let's try some four-way stop signs. Interestingly, experiments done with this configuration will actually average 385 cars through the intersection in the same amount of time, an increase of 33%. Now, let's try the intersection configured as a roundabout. Experiments done with this setup resulted in an average of 460 total cars through the intersection in the same amount of time, a total productivity increase of 60%. What's going on here? In the first configuration, all of the system's management is consolidated into one individual. He alone has to make sense of the system's complexity and then decide how the participants should respond. In the four-way stop sign configuration, the responsibility of managing the system is instead taken on by the participants of the system who work to coordinate the traffic themselves. The participants become more engaged and aware, increasing the overall attention of the system. There are two things, however, that still hold this kind of configuration back. One is the stop sign rule system, which actually functions as an external source of management by requiring every vehicle to come to a complete stop before they cross the intersection, including in situations where the stop technically isn't necessary. The second is the design of the intersection. Participants have to be aware of possible collisions that could come from three directions, and when the collisions do occur, they have the potential to be extremely damaging. All of these aspects are alleviated in a roundabout. All of the system management is done by the participants. Each driver enters the roundabout at an appropriate speed based on their own experience and judgment. The design of the intersection also works to make it easier and less risky for the participants to coordinate with each other. Potential collisions can only come in one direction at low speeds, making the risk easier to understand and less damaging if it does occur. Tremendous benefits are possible when organizations are designed well to support self-management. These organizations have proven to be more productive, more efficient, and more engaged. In the past, we only had to train one person on how to understand and manage the system. But to succeed today, we are challenged with the need to help every member of our team to understand those same principles, and to do so in a way that will be consistent across our entire organization.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Right. Oh, good, good. I love the comments coming in. Yeah. Something relaxing about watching a serious video together. Such a well done video. So much to say about that. Hopefully some words were jumping out at you along the way besides just the great visuals there. But more aware, I heard that. I heard more engaged. I heard making risk easier to understand. Lots of these really great little nuggets in that video. Every time I watch it, it's just, I'm always sort of reinvigorated. And this is great stuff to bring into the messy workplace that we're in, to try to move out of that mess and to make recommendations that people with us, the teams, will want to work together, to get engaged, to use their awareness, and maybe do something like their version of changing a four-way intersection into a roundabout, or something more effective and more efficient. So I hope that captured, very quickly for you in a nutshell, especially for those of you who could only come for a few moments. Maybe that gave you just a lot right there of value that you can take as inspiration back into your workplace. So what we're doing is, I'm using a mental model here. I believe if I hover over this, yes, there it is. Okay, so there's a great handbook out there, website, and other great things about the organic agility leadership framework and this handbook that goes with it. And I'm using this model, and I'm going to show you some other interesting things where I'm going to kind of overlay or interweave it with some other models that may be more familiar to you. But the idea is find a model. If you don't have a model, if you don't have a pattern, then find something that makes sense to you, and try to apply that into your world of taking the mess that you need to become more aware of and making sense of it, and then moving yourself towards doing something about it with your team. So what we're going to see is a great place to start with this model is increasing awareness, cultural awareness, and moving towards coherence. So we'll talk a bit more about what that means here in this first segment. But that's going to move us towards making decisions together, making better decisions based on a better contextual understanding. Context, context, context. I hear it in so many things, so many situations, and it is so important. And that gets us back to what we started with earlier, more of this why of getting some value to be more effectively done, get to the value sooner, get to the value in a way that's more impactful into the world. But we achieve these big changes in small ways. So we'll talk about that as we move along. And those validations of those small changes also moving us towards ways to optimize, ways to get more value, or to flow the value more quickly, these kinds of things. There's always going to be something getting in the way of this, and we'll talk about that. That can introduce a new piece of something cluttering up the room that's getting cluttered, or the junk drawer, or it's another unexpected splash of color on the canvas that maybe we weren't intending, but now it's there. So can we make it part of the design now? As I move along, I did want to say that I think I did say, yeah, that I just want to show relationships between different mental models and metaphors. That's a big way that I try to engage and help engage with teams. So if you're not using those kinds of things, I hope that'll be a big takeaway for you today, is to try more of that. All right. A dear friend reminded me of this wonderful African proverb. And so if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Literally has everything you possibly need, like a whole outfit.
Oh, we've got, thank you. Yes, for muting. Okay. So yes, that's a team. A team needs to move forward together. And so a lot of what we're doing is trying to detangle the messy things that are making it hard for a team to go well together. So I like origin stories. I like finding out where words originated from and these kinds of things. So I took a moment. I'm like, what is the origin of organization or self-organization? And I had fun discovering some things here. So I look at that fun typo. It's supposed to say Greek, not green. There's a beautiful mess right here, live and in person. I love it. Latin and Greek. Green's a great color. But anyway, organum in Latin, or organon is my best attempt at sounding like I'm speaking Latin or Greek. But this is where we get organ, as in the instrument, but also just the general sense of an instrument. So kind of synonymous. So a tool, an instrument is an organ or a thing to help you. So further definitions here, we're with an instrument of organizing, we're arranging, we're bringing things to order. We're trying to do this according to some sort of system. And we're doing things like making arrangements for something to happen with this system. So think back to organ and music, perhaps. I'm a musician as well. So I'm classically trained in, among other things, but in percussion, if you want to know the instruments there. I'm a drummer. Yeah. But I love other instruments, and you know, the organ fugues of Bach are amazing. He's just so brilliant in so many ways. But think about the change that he brought into the world through how he arranged things in such a brilliant way for that instrument. All right, so, and this brings us to kind of, so that things, ideas, plans, etc., these things can be more easily understood or more effective, more efficient. Okay, so then I went a little further in my thinking. I thought, oh, you know, organs, I'm also thinking like in the body, because I love to reshape our metaphor for the workplace. Instead of thinking that we're in this mechanistic, well-oiled machine, I love how organic agility reminds us to think about it as a complex adaptive system that's more like something biological, something like a garden, something like a body, these kinds of things. And so, are you bringing this into your team? Are you helping your team think this way or shift their thinking so that they can reorganize themselves around that thinking? So your lungs, what do your lungs do? They change oxygen into carbon dioxide over and over. Your stomach breaks down and changes food into the nutrients and things that then, thanks to your heart, your liver, flowing the blood and the filtration process, obviously so many more things. We're fearfully and wonderfully made as human beings. The bodies are just amazing in their complexity and how they work. But all of this for me is just another metaphor that's so beautiful. So like these instruments in the body, teams are instruments, or a collection of instruments even, and they're functioning in companies to, through their self-management, through their self-organizing, to bring about something orderly, something for value and for benefit. So again, I'm trying to just give you, if you're not using inspirational and kind of visual stimulus and ideas and concepts, if you're not yet bringing that into your team, that's a big part of this talk. Try it. I'd love for you to experiment with doing more of that and see how it starts to change and shift the culture and the ways in which your team tries to handle their situations. So like I showed you there, self-organization then implies change. And so my website, 3D Change, it's all about the various dimensions of change. It's just right at the epicenter of what we try to do in the world of agility and lean thinking, systems thinking, and all of these wonderful things that we try to apply. So self-organization, enabling self-management, helping embrace awareness, coherence. We started there in our framework that we're borrowing as a model to work from for the talk today with organic agility. And this is to give us more effective decisions so that we can effectively and efficiently engage in the mess, whatever the mess is. It's there and it's okay. Let's not talk negatively and be angered and irritated about the mess, whatever the mess means to you. But let's engage with it and see what we can do to transform and make it into something closer to beautiful, closer to orderly, something like that. All right, so KublerRoss change curve. Can I get some hands for those on camera, or some thumbs up, or some people out there familiar with this one? It's been around a while. Yeah, like I think since the late 60s, if I reference the time period. And so changing how we do change is what we're finding ourselves in kind of in our day and age, right? People have been talking about this for a long, long time, but we're still sort of changing the way we even talk about change. So notice that you have these spaces between this model over on the right, the creative alignment, moving to the yellow, maximize, and then to the green. So notice those. I want to draw your attention there because I'm about to change the image. I'm going to fill in those gaps. I'm going to suggest that the organic agility framework complements this nicely. So check this out. Got a little bigger there. I'm enhancing it with the organic agility and saying, okay, so our starting with coherence and awareness is it's intended to work and complement this. Trying to get alignment is a big phrase that I hear in my workplace a lot. We need alignment. We need alignment. And this requires communication. Well, how do you communicate? You got to know the context of what you're even talking about. So you got to spend time. Ladder of inference. I'm sorry I didn't throw an image here, but these kinds of things we share in the Scrum Mastery and the Product Mastery Pathways courses to help people embrace these kinds of tools and mental models. But as we improve the communications, we can better describe the value that we're trying to achieve together, the outcomes. But things get messy in the communications, don't they? But that's okay. Engage with the mess. We just want to be able to engage and move through that sooner if we can. And so this is to try to get more motivation, engagement. We heard that again in the video. And so as that value really sparks people, yes, I want to create that value. I want to bring that change into the world. I want to make people's lives better with this product or service. Then this helps teams to whatever's kind of messy and getting in their way, gives them motivation and intrinsic to move through that and to make themselves better. So they develop capability and they're optimizing flow. And again, through the iterations, whether it's Scrum or any other sort of iterative way that they work, they're trying to get that value to flow more and more and more and better and better and better. And then it can repeat itself, right? Depending on the change that continues to happen. Other things come along and add to the mess. And so we respond to that. So I'm going to quickly walk you through a similar way that we can take models and integrate or overlay them, right? So I'm just doing this to show you how my brain is kind of a messy, crazy brain, but hopefully you can see how I try to organize things. Find your own way to do this for you, and then bring that into your personality more and more with how you help teams. Kotter's 8 stages of change. Anybody got Kotter's book, Leading Change? Great work. Yes, I see some hands and things. So again, notice the spaces here between the circles. And I'm going to change the image quickly now. And inside, I fit the organic agility framework circles in there. So getting just a little bit of background noise. Thanks so much if you can help us reduce that. Maybe if you can find the active speaker and mute them for me, my co-host. Thanks so much. Right. Yay. It's like a John Cage composition. Anybody familiar with John Cage? He would like have a marching band going one way and another coming the other way with totally different pieces of music. And as they, pass each other, you hear this whole new composition. so myself and somebody else were just doing that. So we created a cool mess for a moment there. All right, so you saw me here just fitting in the agility model, just to show you that if you resonate more with Cotter or with the KublerRoss or something like that, hopefully I can help you connect to what resonates with you today. So we're trying to get a sense of urgency, moving into alignment. We're trying to stimulate and create more awareness, more coherence. Okay, how does this happen? All right, hang with me because just a moment here, I'm going to have you answer some questions. We're going to get some great responses from you. So it's coming up. But as we are focusing on making awareness and coherence, again, I was doing some fun research and I learned more about coherence and incoherence in terms of waves of light waves. And I suppose even waves of sound would work here too. I didn't explore it in that realm. But you see at the top, we have these very nice, exact waveforms happening together. So that's a visual of what coherence could look like. Whereas down at the bottom, you see a differences in the height or the amplitude of the waves there. And so, so now they're sort of bumping into each other. You know, you would, I guess in sound, you would have dissonance. In light, that creates some other interesting kind of behaviors in the world of light. It's very, very interesting stuff. But don't go too far with me. I'm not an expert in light. That wasn't my intent. But I did want to say that a mess, like in our setup for this meetup, we talked about, is there that dark room in your house that has all the clutter and you're like kind of, it's getting scary to go in there. It's dark and creepy and all the things. You know, what's been dead in there for years, you know, that you're afraid to find that snake skin or something like that. So we need to shine a light into that place when we're ready to engage with that mess. We got to see what we're dealing with. So bring awareness, bring light into the team, help your team bring light into whatever they need to, and embrace the differences. That's that being comfortable with oh, you're welcome, Lauren. Thanks. So yes, being comfortable, being uncomfortable is a phrase I've seen a lot, and we are encouraged to do. So expose the differences, continue to bring in techniques for how you can try to harmonize and get on the same wavelength with people as much as possible. So that's important for us to do for our teams when we can sense that they're not on the same wavelength about their way of working or what they're trying to do. I don't favor using lots of text on slides, but I just felt like I couldn't trim this down for the moment. But coherence, just defining it, making sure we're coherent about coherence, the quality of being logical and consistent. When something has this, it's well connected. There's this sense of moving in the same direction. And we want our team to have a sense of this. We want our organization to have a sense of that. Without it, things don't make sense. And if things don't make sense, then there's stress, there's anxiety, there's all these things that can come into play in that. And we call it motivational debt many times. It's that thing that keeps us sitting in our seat watching TV instead of going to finally clean up that junk drawer or that disorganized area of the house that we just keep putting it off. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna get into this now. A sense of an ugly mess or a beautiful mess. Okay, how does this affect us and our team? So let's list some examples. You should be seeing it on Mentimeter or Menti now, where you can give me some examples. I've mentioned a few, but what are some other examples in your mind? What are you thinking of when you think ugly mess? In any setting, work, home, whatever. Thank you. Oh, yes. Unclarity, trash, my garage. Got some others? Kids' bedrooms. Thank you for, your mind. That's a challenging one. I've got some great works out there where people are trying to help us figure out how to declutter our mind. The kitchen drawer, your brain, yes, tangled cables, disrespect, not being aligned, conflicts, garden after autumn. Good stuff coming in. Yeah, mounting technical debt. Your dog after a walk. Oh, you must really let that dog kind of go and enjoy the dirt, the mud, the rain, whatever it may be. So that's fine. The beach after a party. Yeah. Oh, these are wonderful. Yeah, so many word pictures and imagery can come to mind. So so do you use this, even this simple technique of pausing for a moment with your team? You're in the midst of sprint planning or maybe backlog refinement or something like that, a discussion, and you're sensing in the room, you're reading the room that, man, people are frustrated. They're not moving forward. Hey, it feels like we're kind of in a mess right here. What's this mess like for you? So I'm not using it effectively yet, but there is a technique out there called clean language. Maybe some of you are trained in it and versed in it. And if so, fantastic. Probably my suggestion here is this is a great time to try to introduce that use of metaphor and see if you can get the team to at least resonate around a picture like this. Yeah, this feels like my kitchen drawer. Oh yeah, I've got one like that too. And now you got them talking. Okay, now let's move forward together and to see if we can tackle this specific problem in a fresh way now that we're relating it to a common metaphor. All right, good stuff here. Thank you for engaging me with that. So a few that I had were like, oh, a car crash. Boy, that's messy. Yes, the junk drawer, a bunch of smashed pottery. Let's see. How about spaghetti code? Somebody was talking about technical debt, but yeah, spaghetti code. So this one, I'm trying to see what I can do to speak more onto the technical levels in a way that I can just connect with team members when they're trying to address this. And as I was exploring what messy code is all about, this book has been out a while. Maybe some of you have read it, but I can't wait to read this. I haven't read it yet, but it's like, it's in my Amazon cart ready for me to trigger, and bring it in. But I love the subtitle, The Beauty of Code, the Code of Beauty. Oh, I got to read this. This looks like it's going to be great. And I found a snippet in a blog article and some other things, and I was really like, this is cool. I think I can relate storytelling to code writing here is what a lot of this book seems to be about. So I made a discovery in preparing for this, and that's part of what we do is discover, and then that motivates us to try to make ourselves change and become better at something. So then can we better articulate, oh, wow, look at that mess of technical debt there, all those wires, but nobody wants to go in there, right? Because it's all been working. Don't fix it. It's not broken. But that looks pretty scary. And then let's see. We've got, that reminded me of a tapestry. Anybody use that metaphor where, so here you've got at the bottom, this beautiful, tapestry of this royal crown here, but on the back side, all those threads and things that to make that, your impression of that could be that it's messy. Some of you may actually think that even the backside is beautiful. So that's really interesting. But it did make me think of that and gave me another metaphor that I could use. It's like, team, what's going on? Sometimes our leaders are doing things and they're trying to ask us to do things, and it feels like that messy back of the tapestry. But if we take more time to empathize with them and ask them more, what are you really trying to create? Well, then if they can describe, or if we can help them describe, I want this beautiful crown, royal crown on this blue background, Ah, okay, now I know what you're trying to create. Let us help you create that beautiful thing. So it's all about that language and that conversation and aligning around that. And now that's going to move us towards some better decisions. But let me check in, see how we're doing. We're a little beyond the halfway point here. How's everybody doing? Quick check-in. Trying to see if I'm going too fast or if maybe I need to just keep up the pace here. So far, so good. That's what I'm seeing from a few people. anybody had a question and I didn't catch it in the chat, I know Ashlyn's helping me there. Yes, and we will have a recording. So all good, super interesting. Cool. Thanks, Barbara. All right, we're going to keep going then. Thank you, everybody. And feel free, if you're sitting down and you need to stand up and kind of shake it out and keep yourself, the blood flowing, keep your mind engaged, do that for yourself. It's all good. Whether you're on camera or not. All right. So here we are moving along then in our visual image. We talked about that awareness, that coherence. Can we describe the ugly mess? And can we describe even what we want it to start changing into? Do we understand the context that we're in? I'm in a mess. What does it look like? What's it like? And then we'll move on to the other things, but a little bit more about deciding, making decisions, figuring out our context. I want to ask you, what actions would you propose to deal with a ugly mess in a team setting? Perhaps you've had one. Draw from your own case studies, share with us here. All right, try and simplify. Yes. Look for the beauty. Oh, pause. Just pause. Good stuff. Yeah, some situations, definitely need, oh, hey, that's cool. I don't know how somebody managed to do that, but that's really neat. You managed to draw on the Minty. Huh, nice. Oh, you're annotating with nice with the thing. Yeah, annotate. All right. Have a fix-it day. Cool. And you ask them, what do they want to solve? I love that. Where do they want to go? I'm loving the questions that are coming in, the powerful type of questions that you're suggesting. And then, lots of pause, lots of take a step back. That's great, right? Controlling the clock. Anybody familiar with L. David Marquet? His Turn the Ship Around is super popular, but his follow-up, Leadership is Language, is more so my favorite of his books. And he talks about controlling the clock as kind of a playbook of things that you can do as a leader, and just giving people that moment. Hey, everybody, I know we're feeling urgency and stuff, but let's stop for a moment. What's happening? What's our context? So many good things in here. Thank you, everybody. I love it. Love it. Hopefully others of you are seeing this, getting some ideas from each other. Just is terrific. The beauty is we're capturing this, and so we'll have a little PDF available after this talk to include with the recording. So if you want to come back and look at other people's contributions, that'll be terrific. I'm sad that I have to kind of cut us off to keep moving, but some good things being shared there. The big one that I saw was, ask the team. The big guiding principle for Scrum Masters in particular is asking the team. And so I love these decide cards and how they, similar to, if you're familiar with Sam Kainer's work from facilitating group participatory decision making, he's got this gradients of agreement kind of model that you can bring into to group decision making. But these cards are very similar, and I love how they use the word decide in an acronym fashion to help people figure out, okay, for what's being proposed here in this decision, I can't support it. So I deny. I'm just not going to move forward. Well, I just need to know more. Inquiring minds want to know. Tell me more. Or, well, doesn't really seem to affect me either way. I'll just kind of concede. It's not that I'm resigning or giving up. I'm just, whatever the team is going to do, that's fine. Iterate. Okay, I'm liking this. I think we can make it better. That perfection game of, so yes, I'm not being paid to promote the cards. I really love the stuff that Jeff makes available to us. But yeah, can we make this? I like this idea, but I think we can take it from a 6 closer to like a 9 or maybe even a 10. Let's talk a little bit more about it before we decide. We do exercises, to improve our ability to think of alternatives in our pathways, programs, and things. Defend, yes, I can defend this. Let's do this. And endorse. I wholeheartedly love this idea. Let's make this decision and start moving into reorganizing. So, so that's just one. But I kind of glossed over quickly, like Sam Kainer's approach. There's things out there, right, to help decision making. So if you haven't yet improved your toolbox of tools for decision making, let me inspire or encourage you to look into that today and follow up with me. Like you saw, or Jeff or others, we've got ideas. We'd love to help you implement them. So this is all about team self-organization, right? We want the team to aspire to be a squad. What do we mean by that? So we're helping them make these decisions based on their awareness so that they can improve. To be more self-managing, to be more self-organizing implies that we're trying to improve things. We're recognizing the ugly mess and we want to do something about it. Why? Because this improves the quality of our work, our lives, our health, our well-being, so many things. Unity. Also, connecting around like a common objective outside of our individual selves, but more about what we're trying to do as a team. That unification is so powerful to motivate us to engage with the mess and to try to create the beauty or the value. And it gives us more courage to be brave and to try audacious new things, to break out of that's just the way we've always done it here kind of mentality into, I've got this crazy idea and let's try it and see what happens. And all of these things then hopefully helping us improve the delivery of that value and the flow of that value. So, okay. So we're trying to help the team. They got to know their context and then figure out what they're going to do in their context. Can they do a lot about changing who and what they are as a team? Maybe, maybe not. Even if they can't, there's still some things they can do and control. And just the awareness of the situation that they're in can be really, really powerful to shifting them away from feeling like they're stuck in an ugly mess to, no, this is just my context. And now as a team, we can still do things. We can still make our work meaningful and how we engage. So J. Richard Hackman, another mental model I'm bringing in here. And we're gonna try this in just a minute with another pen exercise where you're gonna kind of plot on a grid here in just a moment. We'll see what this is like. But I wanted to give you this sort of linear view of the model. So self-management is kind of this almost fluid kind of thing, if you will, either on a spectrum or a grid. There's ways to visualize it, but here's what I wanted to bring out is that some teams are in a very manager-led kind of situation where pretty much all they can do are the tasks they've been told to do. And you may be in a situation where that's what you're trying to do. And okay, that's your context. So you're dealing maybe with more transactional type of leaders and how they think, and an organization that's very, rules oriented and governance oriented, all these things. And that's okay. I'm not suggesting right or wrong. I'm just saying, know your context to help you better figure out what is possible for you and what is meaningful for you in your work as a team. Some teams are beyond that. And so they can execute the work, but they can also monitor and manage the work more themselves. So they've been given tooling, they've been given enough freedom in the ecosystem to monitor and manage. And maybe they don't have people coming to them saying, I need a status update, status report. Where's your TPS report? Those kinds of things. So this could be their reality. If they don't know, that's what I'm suggesting is take the time to help them know and to help yourself know. Perhaps you're further along in this progression and the team is even given the ability to, let's say, vote a team member off the island when things aren't working out, to hire in or seek out somebody they want in the team. They can self-select maybe in their organization there's a new opportunity and they put it in front of a lot of skilled people and say, we need these kinds of people and these kinds of teams who, here you go. Put your name where you'd like to work. That could be kind of cool to be part of the design of the team and the support around these teams and the work. And then beyond that is even like full on setting direction. This is amazing. This is when you're really connected to the marketplace, the users and customers, these kinds of things, where based on seeing the next thing for competitive advantage, the team can just set their direction. Wow, we got to get this AI kind of modification thing out there to do this. And we need to reinvent ourselves in this way. And we need these things to do it. And they've got the leadership. See, now when they're self-governing, they've got these transformational style leaders, because we still need leaders and managers and such, but we need them to help say, what do I do to help the ecosystem enable you as a team to self-govern and to thrive? So that's, maybe moving towards a utopia or a ideal. But certainly I'm hopeful and optimistic that it's possible. So how about you? I'd love to hear about some of your situations. What is your primary team or your setting? What's it like for you? Can you place a pin here on this grid somewhere? Maybe you've got, if it's just all manager led and it's like, you're just ticket taking, the pin over there. But if you've got a bit more freedom and you're moving more towards self-organizing, self-designing, try to plot yourself. I'm just curious. I don't know who the dots are, so don't worry. But I just want to get a sense, like, what are people experiencing? Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Great. Well, I love, again, how Hackman gives us a bit more of a nuanced way to think of self-organization and self-management and kind of these sort of stages or movements of sort of this relationship or series of relationships between management and the team and so forth. So this might be a cool type of an exercise. If you found this kind of interesting and fun to do, and you haven't done something with your team or maybe with your leaders even, it would be cool just to create more awareness and to help them understand their context and move into, okay, does this suggest some changes that we'd like to implement? Does it shine light on a messy area, something that feels messy, and we should do something about it? Thanks for dropping a pin on the grid. And let me try to move us along at a slightly faster pace. So we've gone this far of awareness, decisions, focusing on value creation is where we're headed. And I'm going to move us into that and also doing things in small increments as quickly as I can. So impediments tend to be a thing that makes it feel messy. The mess itself feels like an impediment. So impediments are the path, though. So rather than seeing that tall wall and feeling demotivated and just not doing anything, just sort of standing there and feeling helpless, can the team boost each other up over the impediment, so to speak? What would that look like? What do they need from each other to do that? I love obstacle course racing, by the way. I've done a few of those with my kids, and it's quite satisfying to overcome obstacles. And it gives you this real life kind of example that you can apply in the workplace. How about some impediments for you that you've seen that make things messy for teams? Conflicting messages, yeah. Leadership changes their mind. Yes, they do. Not having the right kit. Is that like kit like the uniform? I'm sorry. I like it. Management not on board. Oh, people resigning. Yeah, that's rough when there's turnover, kind of unexpected, and those people really had an influence or something. They leave a void and a gap. Boy, that could be an impediment. Yeah, look at all this. Too many priorities. That's, yeah, see, I definitely see that one in my world. Yeah, the lack of being able to physically be together can be an impediment. Good. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, lots of things. So you all are experiencing this, right? So it's really just to let you connect to this and say, okay, these are things. Now, when they happen, though, does your mind move to, oh, yeah, that's happening. What can we do about it? What ought we do about it? So there's that. Is it human system, human dynamics of the what, so what, now what kind of way to walk yourself through things. So overcoming impediments, it needs a lot of support and the persistence and the determination and the incentive and the recognition. So find any way you can, if you can, not just cheerlead, but can you go and get other leaders, other people to show more of that support to the team. If you recognize the team is losing their ability to persist and keep going, if they're not as determined as you would like them to be, how can you help them shift and have the willingness to go after overcoming that obstacle? So John Smart's work on this is terrific in his book about that. Making the mess more beautiful with this framework. So as you are addressing those impediments, you're also trying to validate, like, okay, it seems that we got through that. What kind of change did that do? Can you validate? This is where, measuring things and being better at measuring or getting people to help you. Did it really affect cycle time or lead time, these kinds of things, your flow kind of metrics? If you're not yet skilled with those things, then ask for help or ask for training and bring that back into the team and help the team use that to better validate these things that they're trying to do. Yeah, Knevin, helping people know if they're in chaos and shifting out of that into the complex or the complicated and so on. So excellent, excellent. Yes, so you're doing this incrementally, right? So there's always this hunger to do big things, and leaders often kind of want to see a lot of things happen and across a longer roadmap of time. And so you're trying to help them and your team function. Okay, what are the small things though that lead to that big? Can we articulate that better? So that's a big way to declutter and reorganize that mess. So we've been moving through pretty quick here in the last areas, but like we started, all of this is to help that flow of value to find a way to improve. So what does that mean in your world? I heard a coach and a scrum master last year who was saying they had been in their position for a few years, I think it was, but it had been like, I think it was approaching somewhere around 1,000 business days where, or maybe calendar days of not releasing anything into production. And this team had been an ongoing team doing work and yet nothing being released. That's something messy to attack and to deal with and to try to figure out. And so that was shocking to hear that story. What have you seen that's helped teams optimize flow? And they validated those things. And I know we're coming up on time, so I'll get a few of these and then move us quickly. Kanban, yeah, visualizing, of course. Clear decisions on what not to do. Love that. Yeah, Knevin, openness, motivation. Great. Cool. Thank you for that. So yeah, so whatever you can introduce that helps that mess move towards, give them some vision of, okay, what do we need to organize, to make this garage look classy and nice and where we can find everything when we need it and we can get things out the door easily. So yeah, systems thinking, classes of work, limit work in progress. I saw some of that. All right, so here we are, quick summary. We went through these 5 principles from the organic agility framework. And so things that you can try. So this is that too long, didn't read thing, but I made you suffer through the whole hour here. But so introduce a video, introduce a song, use a metaphor. If you're not bringing some of that creativity in, then try it. Maybe it will create a little bit of a spark to move something that was messy towards something more beautiful. Try to find those conflicting wavelengths and see if you can help people move out of incoherence towards coherence. Maybe the decide cards looked like a cool thing, and you're in a lot of group facilitation and with the team and others, and you want to just try that and see if that makes the conversation around the decision more powerful. Forge a team identity, make them a squad, give them something to aspire to together. They're building a future together. And where are they? What's their context? Maybe the Hackman's matrix would be something useful to talk about that. And just to be more clear about their reality of their relationship to management and vice versa. Remember, impediments are the path. So if you're not thinking of them that way, and the team's not, then try to embrace that mess and try to do something, reduce dependencies in a way that now you've moved through that path and you're on your way towards value. And there it is, value stream mapping, all kinds of techniques out there to help you talk more about value and figure out how to optimize the flow. These are all the books on my shelf back there, but I love these books. I refer to them over and over and over. And I'm definitely a book nerd, but I find it really helpful for me to keep introducing these things to teams and to leaders around me. And so maybe you've read these, or maybe you'll want to pick one or two up and check it out to help you. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much. Coming in right at the hour, top of the hour. All right. The next rendition of this Agile Mastery Meetup is going to feature our beloved Jeff Watts and Roman Pickler here to deconstruct the new role on the block of product coach. That'll be cool. So see you at that one on the 23rd of March. And if you haven't visited our Agile Mastery Institute website, please do so. Check it out, see what the great offerings are out there. And we'd love you to direct people to us, all the guides that love to help teams get better and better and better. Thank you all so much. Appreciate your attention today. Hope you got some benefit from your time invested.
Thanks, Jeff. That was a great session. I appreciate that, and hope to see everybody along for our next session.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers.
All right.
Be well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Gonna make a beautiful mess. See, get the recording.